How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper. My goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. So we'll jump over to the Dixie and go to the daily. We did see a break of that support level that we did try to reclaim, so we did try to make a rounding bottom, but we got rejected. This is why when you're looking at patterns, you want to use confirmation, because you wanted a green candle after that previous green candle to confirm that rounding bottom to push us further up. But we got rejected instead. So if you would have went to buy in, you would have gotten wrecked. RSI is starting to pull back, stochastic is pushing up. VWAP is very weak in the bullish territory, so I would watch if that breaks down. We're likely going to continue lower and push to that one-on-one gap we've been covering. Momentum is bearish and our money flow is weakening. Over on Bitcoin dominance for the daily, we'll zoom out. We are well above that value area high, trending forward. We do have a rounding bottom trying to form here. Again, wait for confirmation. All this means is Bitcoin could do better than our altcoins. VWAP does want to push up. Money flow is bullish. Stochastic does want to push. So if that VWAP can reclaim bullish territory, we will see dominance continue to push, and in turn, Bitcoin do better than altcoins. Over on our total for the daily, we did see most of our breakdown, so I am going to delete this pattern at this time because, in my opinion, it's played out well enough. Remember, you don't want to go for the max pain. Usually you won't get there, just like max breakup. Our stochastic does want to round, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is breaking bearish, and momentum is rounding. So despite what I just said, it does look like we could sell off more. There's just no guarantee. Remember, these indicators could reverse on us at any moment. There's no guarantees in trading. There's no crystal balls. Over on the 4-hour, RSI is pulling back, stochastic is pushing forward. If that can continue, our RSI could start to reverse and price action would follow. VWAP does have higher lows, so watch for higher highs. If we get higher highs here, we would see total and our altcoins push up. Momentum does have a green dot, so I would watch that as well. Over on the 2-hour, VWAP is getting lower highs, so keep an eye on that, as that could start to weaken the 4-hour if this continues and we see a lower low. Over on the 1-hour, our VWAP is getting consistent highs, so watch if we can get a higher low. If we see a higher low on this 1 hour, bearish momentum could reverse. We are in a pretty straight channel, so this could be a little bearish channel here. Sorry, TradingView seems to be lagging a little bit for me, so bear with me. This descending channel, while it does sound like it can break you down, it does push you forward. Remember, a descending channel pushes you down, a rising channel pushes you down. Sorry, said that backwards. Descending channel pushes you up, rising channel pushes you down. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is weakening, that VWAP does want to weaken, but again, watch for a higher low to push our altcoins further up. So hopefully we don't have too much lagginess here. Over on Bitcoin futures for the daily, we are pushing to that value area low. RSI does want to push up, stochastic does want to gain strength. VWAP does have a higher low, so watch if we break neutral and get higher high. If we do, we can see Bitcoin continue up and push to fill the rest of this gap. That would potentially give us that bullish channel that we would need to push up. Again, just watch out for a rising channel where the highs and lows connect. Momentum does want to pull back, but if that VWAP does reverse, that momentum could gain strength and push money flow up. So watch those lower time frames. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a long upper shadow candle. Remember, that shows that bulls tried to push us up, but the bears are stepping in to push us down. Stochastic does want to push up, RSI is pushing forward, VWAP is running forward very strong. That is positive. That can give momentum further strength to push that money flow into the green territory. It's already fighting that neutral, so we don't need much to push it above. Over on the 2-hour, we do have those higher lows, but we have a gap below us. Remember, gaps have an 80% chance to fill, so we could see a round away here. Stochastic is pushing up, RSI is starting to curl, VWAP does have higher highs, momentum is pushing forward, and money flow is starting to reject after crossing bullish, so I would watch. If we see that VWAP break down, we likely would see money flow continue to push down, showing that people are selling more than buying. Over on the 1-hour, we have a critical rejection of that 300 EMA. Remember, that's 300 hours to make that line. So that line is not very quick to be made. If we cannot get back above and hold, we're going to break down, push down to that 57K. And if we cannot hold, making a slightly higher low, then we're likely going to break down and continue lower, possibly toward that 52K. Momentum does want to run, VWAP is pulling back, stochastic selling off, RSI is pushing down, and that money flow does want to break down. Over on the daily for Bitcoin, going to be very similar to futures. we did reject some EMAs here. We did see that channel pretty much play out all the way. If I can get it to delete, this lagginess is kind of annoying. Stochastic does want to pull back. VWAP is pushing lower with lower lows and lower highs. Momentum is pulling back. Money flow is weakening, so I would watch those lower time frames. If they favor more bearish, we're going to continue to sell off. But remember, if we create a descending channel, we could end up pushing forward afterwards. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pulling back. VWAP is favoring bearish or bullish. Momentum is pushing forward, and that money flow is bullish. So if VWAP stays bullish from here, momentum will break that neutral, and money flow will start to push forward. That would be good for the daily, as it would start to give it strength. Over on the 2 hour here, Stochastic is pulling back, RSI is pushing down, momentum is rounding, VWAP is pulling back, money flow is bullish, but watch as that VWAP is pulling back. If that VWAP breaks that neutral, our money flow could reverse easily. Over on the 1 hour, we have that rejection of our 300 EMA here as well, so we did run up, but we got rejected by that critical level. Stochastic is pushing down, momentum is rounding with a red dot, RSI is dropping, VWAP is breaking bearish, so watch that VWAP. If it gets lower lows and lower highs from here, we will see momentum continue lower, money flow will continue to break, and those higher time frames will start to sell off, so this push up would not be long lasting. Over on graph for the daily, we are starting to break out of our rising channel we mapped out, so we are seeing a push down. We did make half our move down, so again, I would delete this, but that doesn't mean we won't see the full pain. Stochastic does want to pull back, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is breaking down, momentum is rounding with a red dot, and money flow is bearish, so watch that VWAP close. If it continues to favor bearish, we will continue to sell off. Over on the 4 hour, RSI is pulling back, Stochastic's pushing forward, VWAP does have higher highs and higher lows, momentum is pushing forward, and money flow wants to gain strength, so we do look positive there. Over on the 2 hour, Stochastic is starting to curl, RSI is pulling back, VWAP does have slightly higher highs and higher lows, so that is a slight bullish channel. Momentum does want to push up with bullish divergence. Money flow does want to gain strength, so we do look like we could continue forward. I would just exercise caution against losing the range we're fighting with right now. If we do, we could end up pushing lower. This could end up being some sort of a bear flag. Stochastic does want to pull back on the 1 hour, RSI is pushing down, VWAP does want to break neutral, momentum is rounding with a red dot, so that does show momentum could end up breaking toward the bearish territory, which would push money flow lower and cause further sell-off. Over on Ankr for the daily, we are pushing down. We did reject EMAs here as well. Stochastic does have a bearish cross. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP is bearish. Momentum is pulling back, and money flow does want to push forward. But with the VWAP favoring bearish, we could see that reverse. Over on the 4 hour, Stochastic is running up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP does have higher lows, so watch for higher highs and a push above this neutral. If we can do that, we could continue further up. Momentum does want to push with a green dot. So we do look positive. I would just watch the lower time frames. Over on the 2 hour, Stochastic starting to round. VWAP does have lower highs. Watch for lower or consistent lows. We could start to see a bearish trend. Momentum does want to pull back. Money flow is breaking bullish, but keep an eye on that VWAP. Over on the 1 hour, VWAP is pulling back in close to that neutral, so watch for a bounce. If we bounce and get higher high, momentum will continue up. Money flow will gain further strength, and we will run to that 300 EMA right around like that 22,555. If we do not see that VWAP stay bullish though, we will end up pushing down toward our 2338. Over on XRP for the daily, we are rejecting that 57,394. So I would exercise caution. That is rejecting those EMAs as well, those lower EMAs. So as these EMAs start to pull back and price follows, we likely could get below our higher EMAs like our 300, the black, and that could give us a further bearish push down. So I would watch in that scenario. Stochastic does want to pull back. RSI is starting to weaken. VWAP is trying to favor bearish. Momentum is pushing down, and money flow is starting to weaken. So I would pay close attention to lower time frames. Over on the 4 hour, we are staying above that 300 EMA. That is positive. Stochastic does want to push up. RSI is pushing forward. VWAP is trying to stay bullish. Momentum is pushing up with a green dot. So we do look like we could continue forward. We need some higher highs though. Over on the 2 hour, we're struggling to stay above that 300 EMA. If we continue to reject and break our green EMA and hold, we're likely going to make that push to our 54 like we warned. But if we break and hold above it, then we're going to make that push toward our 57 and try to get another leg up. Stochastic does want to round away. We are seeing slight bearish divergence that could form. RSI is starting to pull back. VWAP is starting to push down. Momentum is running, and money flow is bullish, but it's flat as that VWAP is pulling back, so I would exercise caution. Over on the 1 hour, we do have a long lower shadow candle trying to form here. If we get that followed with a strong green candle, we could push forward, get that momentum we need. However, if we follow this with a red candle, we're likely going to see lower highs with lower lows, and that could break us down. Stochastic is starting to pull back, momentum is running, VWAP is favoring bearish, but this could be a higher low. If we get a higher low and then break back into bullish territory and get consistent highs, momentum would round, money flow would become bullish, and we would see a push forward, but we would need to stay bullish for several hours in order for that to happen. Over on ALGO, last but not least for the daily, unless there's special requests, we did get that retest we said to look for, so if you were waiting for a short, you could get on that full short from our symmetrical triangle, so we will delete this at this point because it is played out. And our VWAP is starting to break bearish, Stochastic is starting to drop down, RSI is pulling back, momentum is running with the red dot, and that money flow is favoring bearish, so I would watch. We could see some continued downside if we're not careful. Over on the 4 hour, Stochastic's pulling back, RSI is pulling back, VWAP is starting to favor bearish, causing momentum to drop, and that money flow is bullish, but if that VWAP stays bearish, that money flow will start to break as well, so watch our lower time frames. Over on the 2 hour, Stochastic is getting a bullish push with blue above orange, but I would watch. It does look like it could start to curl. VWAP is trying to push that neutral. Watch if we get consistent highs with higher lows or higher highs with higher lows, then we could push forward. If we do not see that, we will see this 2 hour start to roll over here. Finally, on the 1 hour, RSI is flat. Stochastic's going kind of flat, but that blue does want to push off our orange. If that Stochastic can continue that push, we can see price action push off our EMA and try to break through that blue. If we get through the blue, then it's likely we could get a little push forward. I would exercise caution against a lower top though. If we form a rounding top, then I would get out if you're in any kind of trade. Momentum does want to round. Our VWAP is starting to break down, and we do have a lower high. So that is a warning sign. We could see a lower low, and if we get that lower low, that's where those higher time frames will start to weaken. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I appreciate it.